What's up guys, Tech the Noob here, and this is my first video on a series that I hope to continue. Today we're going to be making an Instagram-like picture, and this is generated by 3 images. The bridge, the gazebo, and this light leak. I want to call it lens flare, but I know that's not correct because nobody likes the lens flare too much. Alright, so to start off with this, I have provided a zip file down in the description. If you click it, you'll get 4 files inside. It will be the 2 images, the light leak, and the text file, or a link to the text file I should say, because I want you to download it from the correct source. And you can utilize this tutorial and take it other places. But first things first, I want to tell you where I got these images. I got them from a website known as morguefile.com. This is a website that you can use images from here and use them not for just personal use, but also commercial works. Yes, they are all completely free, as seen here. You can go in and read more about how it works, but for now I'm going to show you what I do and how it's effective. And how I obtained these images is I went ahead and I typed in for an example park, and I got all these different images, and you're thinking, oh, those are kinda okay. I mean, like, this one isn't the best, and what the heck, okay, that's not even a park. Well, I mean, okay, parking lot, but you get the gist. You just want better images, go ahead and click most downloads, and what that does is that brings up a lot better imagery. And it's something that's great, especially whenever you're looking for better stock and you don't want to go to iStockphoto.com because you haven't the money or income to purchase those things. So at any rate, I went ahead and got those images, and I have them here in my folder under tutorials. You won't get these PSDs, I'm sorry. Sad face, I know. But at any rate, let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to start off by grabbing photo 139, dragging and dropping upward, and then I'm going to go ahead and take out the background. I like this construction piece right here, but it's not as cool. I apologize. The bridge is what I'm primarily focused on. So to do this, you can do it several ways. You can use the polygon lasso tool, which selects that. You can use the actual lasso tool, which allows you to freeform your selection. So if you got a tablet, and magnetic lasso, and for better selections you can pin tool it. But for this case, I'm going to go ahead and introduce another method that most folks don't use, and that is the quick mask. And generally you don't want to use it for big things like this. You want to use it for selecting maybe, you know, darker areas and adjusting them to be lightened up to some color that is on here. But we're going to go ahead and use it, and I'm going to teach you a trick with it. So go ahead and hit Q, and that brings you into quick mask mode, and using your brush you can only paint in 2 colors, black and white. Here they are, and when you paint with white, it takes away, and I apologize for that obnoxious sound, it's annoying. When you paint with white, it takes away from the red that the black produces, and basically that's selecting an area that you want to change. And I'm going to go ahead and quick mask this out, so whenever I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and cut. So I'll see you guys here in a second. Okay, and we're back, and quick mask out everything that I want to select. And so now I need to unlock this layer over before taking out the background. The reason being is because if I go to hit the button and hit delete, it's going to give me something weird, and it's going to mess up my whole entire image. And I don't want that. I don't want that at all. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the lock on this, and that's one way to do it. Or if you're using an older version, I believe you have to double click and then hit enter. and that should do it. You guys aren't to this point, but what you have to do in order to get that selection is you've got to hit Q on your keyboard, and that selects the whole bridge. Now, after you get that done, you just come down and hit Apply Layer Mask, and that takes out the background and just leaves the bridge. Go ahead and adjust if you need to, so if you see some flaws with it, you can select this layer here. You got to make sure that this is selected. Grab your brush tool and paint in black and white, and once you do that, you know, and you get it looking, the way you want, you can actually start with the next step, which would be importing in your image, your second image. And I'm going to do that real quick by clicking, dragging, and dropping, double clicking to get rid of that, and moving him down below. Now it's just a matter of moving this guy up to where you want. I don't think I'm going to scale him. Kind of move him there. Then I want to change this bridge position, so I'm going to kind of move him there. I don't recommend ever scaling up, however, it's okay to do it a tad. Don't tell them Tech the Noob told you can scale it upwards, otherwise they'll condemn me. It's like a big no-no in graphic design, but we're gonna do it anyway, just for this, just because I feel like breaking a couple of the rules. At any rate, we notice whenever we do that though, there's some transparency here. We don't want that. It's going to look unrealistic. Nobody wants to fall off into the void. Alright, so to fix that, we're going to turn off the bridge layer by selecting the eyeball key, or eyeball button, sorry, and we're going to go ahead and grab our clone stamp. Clone stamp works in a really cool way. You can turn on a new layer, and then using this tab here, make sure it's on current and below. You're going to alt click, and let's say this was a bird and I wanted to copy it. You're going to alt click, and then you're going to go over and click and drag, and you can actually paste over what that sample is doing on the left. And that works great whenever you're trying to fill in grass, and that's what we're going to do. Now select here, click here, and drag and drop, and paint my way over this. Select some more area, whoops, and get it to where it just looks natural, you know. Add in some areas, try and throw people off by adding unrepetitious spots, and once you're done with that, we're going to go ahead and turn on the bridge layer. Alright, we're getting there, it's almost there. Now these images kind of look plain. I mean, they're out of the box, they're kind of lamesy. They're not going to really impress somebody too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go to our folder again, and I'm going to grab the light leak and pull it onto the stage. And once you do that, just double click, make sure he's on top, and you can just scale and make sure he fits. Now, you can't see your image right now, and that's okay, because if you go into the blending mode, you can change this to screen. What that does is apply the light leak and makes it look pretty kick-ass, you know, kind of Instagrammy. The light leak is overpowering, so we want to go ahead and turn that opacity down. Don't do it too much, otherwise it just looks mucky and kind of gross. So just kind of turn it to where it's a little bit easier to see the stuff behind, and we're going to move on to our next step. These images still look pretty poopy. I don't think a lens flare or a light leak could fix the situation. If you're a beginner, maybe you'll think it works, but I promise you, you're going to look back at it and be like, oh, I hate this. So we're going to fix this up. To do so, we're going to go down here and we're going to go to the adjustment layers. These are non-destructible adjustments, meaning you can go back and change them at any time and you really can't destroy them. Over here, if you go to image and adjustments, well, I have to be on a layer that'll allow it. You can see that they're the same things. But now, if you do it once, you can't go back and change it. You have to undo all your steps to that point to be able to change it, and believe me, it's a pain in the butt, especially whenever you notice something is off. So you're human, you're not perfect. We're going to do the adjustment layers down here. And the first one we're going to start off with is curves. And curves allows you to adjust the black or the darker areas and the lighter areas. And using this, we're going to put it on top of everything, and we're going to do just that. I'm going to darken this up, give it more darks. I'm going to lighten it up, and it's going to look pretty darn good. I mean, we're almost close to the final product here just in itself. But one thing else we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of an orangey glow. I mean, the sun's beating down pretty hard. We want to feel that warmth. You know, it's about an autumn day. I mean, I know the trees are looking bare, but you know, let's give some warmth to this. You know, so we're gonna go here, back down to the adjustment layers, and we're gonna choose some color balance. What that's gonna allow us to do is, well, make orange. And how do you do that? Well, you slide it over to the red section, and then you slide it over to the yellow. That gives us more of a, you know, orange glow on everything. And that's pretty much going to set the tone for the remainder of this image. The final thing is simply putting text over it. Hooray! You can go 10 times beyond this and get more in depth, you know, whether it's quick masking out and making the darker darks on this or lighter lights on it, whatever it may be, to make it seem more photorealistic. But for this, I'm going to call it a day because it's pretty good. It's just a simple tutorial. Simplicity. Select that with our type tool. Use free transform. Drag it up. And for me, these letters are spaced apart too far, so I'm going to go ahead and go into this, which is the character and paragraph panels. And I'm going to go over here and change this to 0. And I'm going to scale him back up again. And he's hard to read, so I'm going to go ahead and add a drop shadow. So we go down here, click this, and here you can change the angle. Imagine the line being where the sun is coming from, or the light. I'm going to drag it up over here, and then I'm going to change the distance away from the letters. And harden that up, you know. Then I'm going to make sure that the opacity is up higher. So we want to kind of differentiate the letters from the background. And once you're done, you can either adjust it or keep it. And then we're going to hold down Alt and click, hold down Shift and drag it down. And we're going to type, oops, Power of Photoshop. I'm going to apply that, shrink it down. If you want to shrink it down like how I'm doing, a lot of times you'll have to do this. But what you can do is hold down Alt, click the corner, and then you can hold down Shift and it'll drag it proportionally just like that. And it's a good tip to know, especially whenever you're scaling things pretty quick. I'm going to go ahead and select all this, and now holding down that Alt key again, you can hold it down and hit your arrows and spread it apart. And that is how you get a really cool effect. And you can adjust the the drop shadow and make it fit more what you want. But regardless, I know it gets kind of lost. You can touch it up by moving it around, you know, adjusting the shadow. But for this, I think it's a good tutorial to start with. So, simplicity. You know, that's a little bit too overpowering. So now you can just go back and kind of adjust these things as you feel the need to. And voila. I think I like that one better anyway. I don't know. Either way, that's the tutorial. Take care, guys, and have a wonderful day.